3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Freshmen for a Day. So today we have our 3 site principals with us, and they're going to talk about the amazing options for high school students at their sites. So first off, we're going to start with an introduction. We'll start with Ms. Bartram, and we'll go from there.
Hi, everyone. I'm Samantha Bartram. I am the principal at Coastal Academy High School.
And I am Dana Moen, principal at Classical Academy High School Studio, home of the Caymans.
And I'm Stacy Perez. I'm the principal at Classical Academy High School's Personalized Learning Campus.
Awesome. And so the first question is for Mr. Moen. Mr. Moen, what advice do you have for parents as their students enter high school?
Hey, Chedley, that's a great question, and one that I'll actually talk more about at the Parent Jumpstart, but just a quick kind of summary of what I like to encourage parents, especially if it's a first-time student coming into high school, is really as a parent to think through what are your goals as a parent by the time your student graduates in 4 years. So if your goal is to raise a competent, capable, and healthy young adult, you're going to have one parenting style. If your goal is that they have a 4.5 GPA and they get a full scholarship to Stanford, that's going to affect your parenting as well. So think about what that goal is, because that's going to impact the way you parent. And the last thing I want to say on that is there are different stages of parenthood as your child grows up. And I've done some research on this, and I know in the early years, you're more the commander. You're telling them what to do and when to do it. No questions asked, and that's for their safety. Then as they get older, you turn into more of a coach. You're encouraging them, you're teaching them, but you're also giving them a little bit more choice in different decisions that they make. Eventually, probably around sometime around the either teen years or high school years, you're going to turn more into a counselor where they're going to start getting more and more choice, and you're going to be counseling them on the decisions they make. And then eventually, hopefully, if you've done your job right and they really respect and value your opinion, and I lost my screen here, but you'll turn into a consultant eventually, and they'll ask for advice or they won't. And I know, like me as a parent, that was my ultimate goal, and very, very happy that my college kids actually sometimes call me and ask and want advice. But just those are some things that I think that every parent should think about, especially if it's their first child going into high school.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Mr. Moen. Yeah, definitely a lot of things there for them to consider. All right, the next question is for Ms. Bartram. How should you go about choosing a high school?
That's a great question, Chedley. And parents and students, if you're watching this, over the course of this video, you'll be hearing about each of our 3 programs. And each of our programs are different and unique and special in their own way. And so first and foremost, I would encourage you to work hand in hand, parent and student. The student should be involved in the decision, the parent should be involved in the decision, but at the high school level, students ultimately are the driver of their success. As Dana was mentioning, as you shift towards this counselor type of status with your student, ultimately your student is going to be the one following through with their assignments, reaching out to their teachers, asking questions. So my first and foremost recommendation is to do it together and in partnership as a family. Location can always be a big factor. Coastal Academy High School is located in Oceanside. Both of the Classical Academy High Schools are in Escondido, so that can be a factor. I know at both of our sites we have students that ride the Sprinter back and forth, so that is available to you. And then finding a program that meets your student's schedule and needs. As you listen to each of our programs, be listening for the different opportunities for flexibility and the different types of academic options. Each of our courses and classes are slightly different, as are our extracurricular activities. So as you're watching this video, have a notepad handy to jot down pieces about each of our campuses that resonate with you, or questions that you may have to follow up with us later.
Awesome. Thank you. And Dr. Perez, how might some of the changes we've learned through COVID positively change educational programming into the future?
That's a great question. Well, hopefully, hopefully we're done with COVID by the time school starts and we're back to all of our regular programming. But I think we transitioned to distance learning because of our partnership with our parents and our communication with our students, that we've built those relationships. We continued to have our rigorous college prep classes. We made that change quickly. The three of us really communicated well to make sure that we were serving our populations, to get students back on campus, and continued to deliver the quality courses. So I think that what we've discovered is it doesn't matter if it's a 2-day, 3-day, 4-day program, we're ready to serve our families, and that's really the TCA way. So I think the changes we've learned is that we can be even more flexible, and we will continue to provide quality, rigorous classes.
Great, great. And for all the parents out there, so this is a good start, right? We asked one question for each of the principals. And now for the remaining questions, I'm going to ask a question, and all of the principals are going to have time to share a little bit about each of their specific programs. So here we go with that. And we're going to start with Ms. Bartram, and then we're going to go to Mr. Moen, and then Dr. Perez. So please describe the academic programming offered at your high school site.
Sure, absolutely. So at Coastal High School, we have two programs that I'll briefly describe. We have what we call our 4-day program, and we have our independent study program, which we also refer to as the IS program. And so our 4-day program, students are on campus Tuesday through Friday. We have a bell schedule. On average, students take about 5 classes per semester. Now, I do want to note that our classes are year-long, and that differs from what you'll hear from Mr. Moen when he shares about his program. So I want to make sure that I make sure everyone hears that we have year-long classes, meaning all of your classes will start likely the end of August and go until the end of June. We do utilize the Summit Learning platform in conjunction with Schoology. So Summit Learning is another curriculum provider that we use to help our students have access to their learning. And through that, we have a mentoring program, which is really neat. Each of our students has an adult mentor assigned to them as a freshman that serves as their champion and mentors them throughout their high school experience. So by enrolling in the 4-day program, your student has that opportunity to work with their mentor, typically for a bi-weekly check-in. And now our second program, so outside of our 4-day program, we have our independent study program. And so that program is for parents who are interested in serving as the primary educator of their student. So perhaps you may want to use an alternative curriculum. It could be faith-based or not. Perhaps you are coming from one of our middle schools and you're on C-Track and you'd like to continue with that option. We have that option for you where you will have a credentialed teacher assigned to you to support you. And within our independent study option, we have options available if you're interested in pursuing a more fully online opportunity. So that's the condensed version of what we offer at Coastal High School.
Great, thank you, Ms. Bartram.
Hey, thanks guys. Yeah, for Classical Academy High School Studio, we really have one program on our campus because the other programs for Classical Academy High School are at the Personalized Learning campus, and Dr. Perez will talk about those. So at the Studio campus, it's probably the most traditional out of all of the Academy's programming. Like Mrs. Bartram's program at Coastal, the students spend 4 days on campus, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We've always had Monday learning labs on Monday morning for students that need a little bit of extra help. One difference between the Studio program and all other classical or coastal programs is that most of the classes are accelerated. We're on a quarter system, and so you actually get a semester's worth of credit in 9 weeks, which goes really, really fast. You got to move, those classes are going fast. So the positive side to that is most of our typical students are only taking 3 classes at a time. Some more advanced students might take 4, and really advanced students might take 5, but a typical student's going to be taking 3 classes at a time. We do have year-long classes for all math classes and all advanced placement classes. Last thing I want to say is just a typical freshman schedule in Studio, so you can kind of understand the quarter system. They would have math all year, typically any level math, whatever math they test into. Most of our freshmen are taking math 1 or 2. But then English 1 would only be a half a year, And when they're not in English, they would likely be in biology. So that would be a second period, would be English for half the year, biology for half the period. And their third period would likely be a foreign language. So we offer Spanish or French, and they would actually do 2 years of foreign language in their freshman year. And then they could pick up with Spanish 3, 4 in their sophomore year. So that's kind of how we do it at Studio.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Moen. Okay, Dr. Perez, finish this up.
Yeah, so Classical Academy High School Personalized Learning Campus is a few blocks away from Studio. We're a little bit closer to the Sprinter side. We offer 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on campus with optional workshops. So those are classes, we call them workshops, just to differentiate between the full online or taking workshops. This is the most flexible program. So a lot of the components that Mrs. Bartram already talked about, we use Summit Learning, we are year long. We also use Schoology, and we also have the independent study program. So those programs can both be blended. You can do some independent study. Let's say a student's taking piano outside or a different foreign language outside of our regular curriculum, and that's being taught by the parent. We can actually build that into their schedule. We do have the full online option, so students that can't or don't need to come on campus have that option as well, but all of their college prep classes are overseen by a credentialed teacher. So they'll have a math teacher, they'll have an English teacher, they'll have a history teacher, those individual teachers they can go to for each class in their year-long classes. And our students generally take 5 to 6 classes at a time as well.
All right, thank you for that. So the next few questions are going to be pretty quick, and then we'll have a few more that they can expand on. So next question, how many students are enrolled at your campuses?
Sure. This year, we have about 475 students at Coastal Academy High School. Parents, you may be familiar that Coastal High School, as a newer high school, is continually expanding. And so we do plan to expand slightly next year. Now, I have to address this. I'll keep it short, but I get asked at every freshman for a day, what's the status on our new high school? So I just wanted to speak to that really quickly. I'm so grateful that we have a fully engaged community development team who works with Cameron Curry to move that project ahead. And what I can share with you now is there is a location identified and it is absolutely in the works. It is doubtful we will be there next school year. However, Cameron, as he has updates, absolutely will be keeping the community involved and updated. And please know that I absolutely am involved in those discussions as well. But we certainly will not be starting the year next year in our new building and likely not be in the new building next year at all. However, it's extremely likely your freshmen would graduate from our new high school.
Great, thank you for that, and for some of the clarity on the future as well. Okay, Mr. Moen?
Awesome. On the Studio campus, we have about 880 students, which breaks down to about 220 per grade level.
And at the Personalized Learning Campus, we have between 400 and 480 students. We have purchased our building, so we can expand as big as we can with the space that we have, and right now that's 480 students.
All right, thank you. And then the next question here, how many freshman lottery spots are available?
Sure, depending on the specific course schedule, what math class your students need, if they're starting on in biology, et cetera. We're looking to take anywhere from 140 to 160 at Coastal High School.
And for Studio, we usually enroll up to about 250, which ends up, by the time school starts, ends up being about 220 freshmen. One thing I'd like to add here is so far in the history of Classical Academy, every single classical or coastal family has got their first choice in programming. So don't feel like you have to pick a program because space might run out. Everybody's always got their first choice.
And at the Personalized Learning Campus, we will be enrolling 140 students in our freshman class.
All right, thank you, Dr. Perez. And then now we're going to expand a little bit to talk about extracurricular activities. So I understand that all campuses have traditional events such as homecoming games, dances, prom, and graduation. Can you give us a little bit more about what sports and activities are available on your campuses?
Yeah, sure. So I'll touch on athletics. We are part of the CIF, and so we have a thriving athletics program. It's funny saying that in the middle of COVID because we're not exactly thriving right now, but we typically are, and I can't wait for our athletes to get back out there. But the sports and the athletics programs that we offer at Coastal High right now, we have boys and girls cross country, boys and girls volleyball, boys and girls basketball, boys and girls soccer, boys and girls wrestling, boys baseball, girls softball, boys and girls swim, cheer, dance, and we also have a sailing program. Coastal Academy High School has a partnership with the Oceanside Yacht Club, and your student can actually take a class either on a Monday or after school and learn how to commandeer their own tiny little boat. It's called a Sabot, and they can earn high school credit for that. So that's kind of a unique feature of Coastal High School. And then we also have a program called Mock Trial if your student is interested in perhaps pre-law or becoming an attorney. It's a competitive team that basically gets a court case assigned to them, and they go down to the San Diego courthouse and compete against other high schools in an actual courtroom. It's really neat. And then, of course, we have a variety of clubs. At the beginning of the year, I think all three of our campuses have what we call like a club rush, which is where all the clubs are outdoors or indoors, wherever we may be, and students can learn and find out more ways to get involved.
Thank you. Mr. Moen.
Awesome. Ms. Bartram, that's amazing how fast you guys have grown and all those different activities you guys are offering. At Classical Academy Studio, I was counting up how many sports there are now, and between the boys and the girls sports, there's actually 24 different varsity sports. So there's 24 different sports: fall, winter, spring. Most of those teams have JV, and some also have freshman levels as well. So it just depends on the sport. There's pretty much always a place for a freshman to enter into competition, whether that's at the freshman or the JV level. Some athletes that have been playing their sport for a long time might make varsity. We have cheer, dance, flag, choir, theater, ASB, debate, robotics. Some other popular programs would be yearbook and academic league, link crew. We have 27 clubs currently. That kind of goes up and down. The things I'd like to specify that we absolutely don't have that Coastal has, that Ms. Bartram suggested, was wrestling. There's no plans to offer wrestling. We don't have sailing. We don't actually have an ocean in Escondido to sail on. We don't have mock trial, and we don't have culinary arts here. I don't know if Dr. Perez does, but those are some of the programs we don't have at Studio.
Now, just to be clear, so we're Classical Academy High School in Escondido. Both locations participate in all the same sports. We do have some different clubs based on our location, but choir, theater, dance, flag, cheer, and all the sports are all combined. So we're one big happy family there. But depending on space, we combine a lot of activities. Maybe a barbecue might be on the Studio campus, or there's a few that we just simply don't have enough space. And so we do have all of our band for both sites are here on this campus because we do have a large auditorium. So guitar would be here, our marching band, our drum line. And then we do have some events that are separated, but students can choose to attend one or the other. So they're at the same time on the same date, but for homecoming, they need to choose which location they're going to attend the homecoming dance. At some point, we are large enough that we could combine those, but we would need to find a larger venue. Also, prom is separate, and graduation. So we do have two separate graduations, because when you combine that many students, that graduation could turn into hours and hours.
I just want to address one question here, because I know when Coastal first started, there was an agreement where students that went to Coastal Academy High School could play sports on the Classical Academy teams. But just in case anyone, maybe hears about that and thinks, well, I want to go to Coastal Academy, but they don't have football yet, so I want to play football at Classical Academy, but go to Coastal. Just so everyone's clear, per CIF agreements, you can't do that. You have to play the sport at the school that you choose to play at. Okay, next question. What are the main reasons that students would choose your specific campuses?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I feel like our Cayman made an appearance. So first and foremost, people choose to come here to be a stingray, of course. So anyway, outside of being a stingray, there are a couple unique features to Coastal High School that are appealing to some students. First and foremost, we have year-long courses, and some students prefer taking courses that are spread out over the course of the academic calendar year. We also offer the opportunity to have a hybrid. I know Escondido has different opportunities to take one class with Dr. Perez and a couple with Mr. Moen. I'm not sure what that looks like for next year. At our campus, we do allow you to mix and match 4-day classes with independent study classes as space is available. So that flexibility is really appealing to some families. I like to say that we're the best kept secret in Oceanside. We're a newer high school, and we have a family feeling. So we are growing, and we're growing rapidly, but because we're small and because we are at our current space, class sizes are really small, averaging 20, 25 students in a class, sometimes even smaller. And we have some unique programming that we'll get into a little bit later, and some classes that are a little bit different as well. And then finally, Mr. Benetti is also our athletic director, and he can speak to this for sure. But as an athlete at our school, you have a chance to be a varsity athlete as a freshman or a sophomore. Being that we are newer, students who have never played sports before have a real chance to make varsity at our school. So, yeah.
That's awesome, Miss Bartram. In studio, guys, like, why do people choose studio? A couple things come to my mind. I would say the teachers. We have amazing teachers at this campus. They've been here for quite a while. I've been principal for this, I think, currently my 13th year. Most of the teachers have been with me most of that time. Back when we were growing, they came aboard, and they've stayed and they've grown, and just we have amazing teachers here. Another reason is fewer classes at one time. Like I said, my kids, 2 of them have already graduated from here, and my kids have never had more than 3 classes at one time during high school. They're very involved in extracurricular activities after school, so they can keep their class load to just 3. And then just for being a smaller school, we're not a small school. I'd call us a medium-sized school, but for being a medium-sized school, there's just so many different extracurricular activities, electives, AP classes, and we really want to encourage kids to get involved, and they can do that at Classical.
And all 3 of our sites offer college prep classes. So we're looking at all students being college and career ready when they leave us, and that's indicated on their transcript. So no matter where they've taken their classes, just know that they are in that college prep program. The Personalized Learning Campus, we originally started as a learning center for studio, and we grew rapidly from that. But the main reason people would choose our program is the flexibility, not having to come on campus every day because of their travel schedules, due to medical reasons, or other reasons that they need to meet off campus or remote. So if somebody's a missionary and they're traveling a lot, this is a great program for them. We have a lot of athletes that are traveling with their athletics, and that also makes us a good choice. Or students that just don't need the daily support or the traditional look of sitting in a classroom. A lot of times this Personalized Learning Campus provides the best support for them.
Thank you, Dr. Perez. And then this is an interesting question. Can students transfer between each of the campuses?
That's a great question, and a very common question. So Coastal Academy High School and Classical Academy High School are 2 different charters. So to complete a transfer between the campuses, students would need to complete the online registration for the campus that they want to attend. So if the question is about transferring, say I start at Coastal High School and want to transfer to the Personalized Learning Campus or vice versa, I always encourage students to stick it out at least through the semester, if not the year, because there's always at the beginning of the year a learning curve for students and teachers. And so there is a transfer process, and it is possible, but it would require a separate registration.
And I'll speak for Studio and the Personalized Learning Campus. We are the same charter. We are the same school. So it is possible to transfer between the campuses, but that can be difficult if you're in an accelerated program, wanting to go to year-long or year-long to accelerated. So Mr. Moen had talked about English. So if a student took one semester of accelerated English, when they came to the Personalized Learning Campus, we're on a year-long schedule. So they wouldn't have that class, or there could be a bump in we're not offering that second semester. So we take that on a case-by-case basis as far as we try to accommodate everyone and give them a personalized schedule. But between the campuses is a little bit more difficult, but it is possible.
Got it. So just some more clarity for families. The Personalized Learning Campus and Coastal Academy High School are both year-long, where Studio would be semester-long. For most classes outside of AP and math.
Correct.
Awesome.
Yeah, Chudley, and then I'll add to that too. That's right. I want you guys to remember that as a classical or coastal family, you always have preference into any of our programs. And if you want to switch, you'll have high priority to do that. But it is very, very difficult to switch mid-year for almost any reason. Spacing, but programs are different. So we really want you to pick the program that you'll be committing to for your entire freshman year. And if it ends up being not the best experience and there's something else that you want to go after, you could probably make a choice for that sophomore year and switch schools at that point. But we do want you to make a commitment for that freshman year.
And just to add one piece of clarity for Coastal High School that I get asked very frequently is, Samantha, does your site offer basically what Mr. Moen and Dr. Perez does in one? And as it relates to offering the independent study piece and the 4-day program, yes, we are still small enough that we can offer both programs in one. So if you were thinking that, the answer is yes.
Awesome, thank you. And then one more question about the programming. What are some of the classes offered on your campus that set you apart from other schools and other campuses?
Oh, I don't have favorite questions, but this might be my favorite question. We have some really cool programming at Coastal High School. One of my favorite classes is called The Art of Adulting. And it's actually a 21st century life skills class where students learn how to create a budget. They learn really basically when high school ends, if mom and dad were out of the picture and I needed to learn how to apply for a car loan, really survive on my own, what are some of those skills? They work on vision boards, creating kind of a vision statement for their life. So that's a neat class. We have a thriving guitar and ukulele class. They put on performances in conjunction with our music composition and songwriting class. We do have a musical theater program, as do all of the academies. We also have a multi-tiered culinary arts program. So we have a classically trained French chef, Chef Tar, on staff. And so Team Stingray is always well fed. She teaches 5 different classes throughout the day. And this is not your traditional home ec class where you learn how to make mac and cheese in the microwave. Our students are learning about the 3 mother sauces, and they're learning how to make homemade pies. They have homework assignments where they need to cook dinner for mom and dad that night. So that's a super fun class. Also, as it relates to foreign language, in addition to offering Spanish, we are unique in that we offer American Sign Language as a foreign language alternative. And then I already mentioned our sailing class. We've also offered forensic science. Next year, we're planning to offer oceanography. This year, we launched AP Psychology, which many of our students are enjoying, and we plan to offer that again next year. And then in addition to those options, we have students who continue to take classes at community colleges as well and kind of create a blend of all of our options that works for them. And I think that's what the classical academies, regardless of which option you choose, we have options to personalize learning to meet the need of your student.
Hey, for the studio program, what makes us unique? Actually, before I talk about the program, I do, because Ms. Bartram brought up the Stingray again. I just want to bring up the Cayman one more time. This is just one of our Cayman mascots here. But as Mr. Benatia knows quite well, the Cayman ended up being one of the top 25 mascots in the entire United States. So we were voted in the top 25. I think it might have even been like top 10 mascots in all the US. So that is one thing that sets Classical Academy apart from its sister school, the Stingrays. But you know what? The Stingrays a little new. You guys might get voted in the top tier there soon too. Anyway, I love our mascot name. But in terms of the classes, sorry, I'm just like killing time now. In terms of the classes, we have a lot of AP classes, but I'd really like to highlight our math AP classes because we offer through the highest level of math with AP Calc AB and AP Calc BC, which is the highest level of calculus that you can offer, as well as AP Stats. Our robotics program is very popular. We have a few engineering classes like computer-aided drafting and Java that tie into the robotics program. Competition dance is popular at Studio. Health and fitness is popular. Leadership and media that produces Cayman TV. And the last class I really want to feature, one of the most students' most favorite classes on campus is the woodshop program. That's a popular one at Studio.
And then we duplicate most of Studio's classes, the year-long APs. We have 13 AP classes. A lot of those are the same, but those classes are full. We also offer the higher level math classes with the AP Calc AB and BC. And then we last year were able to articulate courses with Palomar College. So Palomar has identified that we have college level classes being taught on our campus. And so if a student takes keyboarding, which is learning how to type, or they take one of our 2 digital art classes, they actually can earn Palomar credits from our teachers on our campus. So that's exciting. We also have a partnership with UCSD. So we offer 3 business courses that gives them pre-college credit. So they actually get a UCSD transcript for taking those classes with us on our campus. And then we have a lot of full online options such as financial literacy, different elective classes that are offered full online, not necessarily with workshops. And then we've got a great music program.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Perez. As Mr. Moen dragged me in to the fray here, yeah, so I think one of the reasons of me being the moderator is that I've been an employee of both high schools. And so I think one thing, if you're watching this video, and you're kind of weighing your future, I think you've seen 3 awesome options that can be personalized for your son or daughter. And you know, whether it's you know, and there are some things that one high school offers that the other one might not, and that might weigh your decision. But you know, at the end of the day, you will find an awesome option at each school that with lots of teachers who care about their kids. So whether you want to be a Stingray or a Cayman, there's a place for you. And so we're going to have Mr. Moen talk about next steps, and then I will finish the presentation. So Mr. Moen, go ahead with some next steps.
Yeah, guys, just thank you guys for joining us today. Just some things to think about with next steps is we're going to have a student presentation for Classical Academy High School, both programs at 9 o'clock. You have that link, and please encourage your student to watch that at 9. And then also watch the Coastal Academy High School presentation at 10. Those are directly meant for students to watch. We want your students to be part of this process. In the evening, the schools are going to host a student and parent Zoom. Those would be separate, Classical and Coastal. Please attend those if you have further questions after watching the video. And then in the end, after discussing it with your child, go ahead and fill out the Google Doc that goes with the campus that you want to request enrollment in. There's going to be a Google Doc that should be in the email, and then you can just indicate that you watched the orientation videos and you would like the enrollment information for that particular campus. And then remember these dates. So once you've done that, once you've filled out, watch the presentation, especially this parent orientation, you filled out the Google Doc indicating that you would like to enroll in Coastal Academy High or Classical Academy High School, then you will get confirmation that you filled that out. I believe you'll actually get an email receipt. And then on Monday, January 4th is when the actual enrollment email will come out to you. So you'll have between Monday, January 4th and Friday, January 22nd to complete the online enrollment. If you want priority in one of the Classical Academy high schools, it has to be completed and filled out in that window. after Friday, January 22nd, then we open up enrollment to outside of classical, and that's when you potentially could lose your spot. So that's why we're doing this early.
Well, great. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you guys all for being on this call and giving a bunch of information to all the families. And to all the families out there, thank you for being a part of this. And we hope you join the Classical Academy's family in the near future. Thank you guys very much. Have a great morning, evening, afternoon, whenever you're watching this.
Thank you, Mr. Benatia. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.